Hi everybody, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie, and today my video is going to show you how to make some easy, cheap DIY chalk paint from an item that you already have in your house or most of you could easily get. It's not baking soda and it's not plaster of Paris, and it rivals its name brand store-bought competitors. I used to make makeup and that skill has come in really handy for helping me throw this together, and if you haven't subscribed already, I'd love if you click that button. The first thing I'm going to do is go over a couple household items that we hear about as far as possibilities for making chalk paint and show you why they don't really work. So the objective for chalk paint, or what I should say is the aspect that everyone celebrates with chalk paint, is how well it covers. So it adds opaqueness versus transparency. And there's something in the makeup industry called veiling power. So it's the difference between a transparent bronzer versus a concealer. And I'm sure you've all seen those people walking around with white noses on the beach, and that's zinc oxide on the nose, like Desitin or diaper cream. And if you tint that, you can make it any color, but it's still opaque. You can't see through it. So what I've been showing you so far is I'm rubbing the baking soda on my hand, and I'm rubbing some cornstarch on my hand, and I'm showing you that really it doesn't leave any residue or whiteness behind. But here's baby powder. Now we're not talking baby powder here made with cornstarch. You gotta be sure that the baby powder is made with talc. And you can actually buy talc unscented in bulk online, it's real cheap. Now I'm sure all of you have had the experience where you've accidentally spilled baby powder, or you've sprinkled it on your skin somewhere and it gets on your clothing, and you gotta admit or agree that you had a hard time getting it off. And that's good, because that white film that it leaves behind, that's exactly what we want when we want more coverage. So I know there's probably going to be some people out there that have tried the baking soda gig with trying to make DIY chalk paint, and I also include cornstarch because I've heard somebody mention that as well. And so that's in the middle. The baking soda is on the right, and on the left is going to be the talc, baby powder. But I think it's important to see side-by-side comparisons so that you can understand why one is exactly what you want and why the others are not. So the interesting thing too is with the cornstarch, you're going to see it there. It clump, because it is a starch, it actually absorbs whatever liquid is in the acrylic paint, and we lose our glide factor. Now that's a makeup term. It's when, as it suggests, you can spread something really easy, and we want that with paint as well. When we spread it, we want it to glide across whatever we're painting. So cornstarch kind of gives it a big hiccup. I don't know any other way to describe it, but it makes it like mud and you can't glide it, spread it very well. Now in this mix, I'm using 1 part paint to 2 parts powder. That's too much, and at the end of the video I will go over the ideal suggested amounts that you should start with. And I also want to mention, the other day I mixed the baby powder into primer that was left over from me painting a big project. You know those big Home Depot gallon primers you can get that you never use all of it? And I want to tell you guys, if you do that, be prepared to either throw away your brush or clean it with paint thinner or acetone, because that baby sticks in there like cement. So when I talk about staying powder and it rivals things like Rust-Oleum, the chalk paint that you would use for furniture, I'm not kidding. It's amazing. In fact, I don't know, maybe talc is what they use inside there. It could be chalk, because chalk also leaves behind like a dusty white residue. It could actually be chalk in the chalk paint. I honestly have never looked. This video is pretty self-explanatory, though. I purposely made it that way, well, I tried to anyway, so that you could watch, because there's nothing like seeing something, and that will help you make the best possible DIY chalk paint you can on a budget at home with things that are easily accessible to you and less toxic than plaster of Paris. Also, I forgot to say, I decided to write none in the middle because I thought you guys need to see the Apple Barrel acrylic paint with nothing in it so that you can observe the veiling power of the Apple Barrel paint when it's on something like black. I also felt it was important not to heavily edit this video, at least not edit it at all when it comes to the painting part, so that you know I didn't cheat. So you're going to see me rinsing my brush in between. You're going to see me struggling with the cornstarch because it balls up and it's difficult to spread. But all of these things are important for you to see so that you can understand. I'm even trying to spread it with my finger because it's so stuck on there. So here it is, folks, and you can see the baking soda looks the same as the acrylic paint with nothing in it. Now you will get thicker paint because anytime you add any mass in it, like a dry substance, you're going to get a thicker paint, and so that will add more coverage, but you're not actually getting more opaqueness. You're just, if anything, you're going to lose the volume of paint and you won't have as much paint to spread, and that's a waste of money. The cornstarch, you can see where it's like sticking there, the starch little pieces, and then the talc. The talc is awesome. Okay, Holly, so that's all well and wonderful, but people are going to want to see how it actually performs on some of the more challenging surfaces that we have to craft on, particularly shiny surfaces like glass, metal, plastic. So to me, the most challenging out of all of those is glass. So I choose this little glass vase here so that you can see how it performs. So I'm approaching this just like a regular DIY craft, and since a lot of you have silhouettes out there and Cricut machines, I also thought it would be interesting to see how it does with a sticky vinyl. So I'm using these Dollar Tree stickers. I'm just going to paint them black and stick them on the vase. And as promised, I'm going to go over the ratios with you now. I recommend you start with 1 part paint and 1/2 part baby powder or unscented talc. You can buy it online, don't forget, and go from there. I like a 1-to-1 ratio. That gives me amazing coverage. Don't go any higher than that because you will lose your glide factor I talked about in the earlier part of this video, but this is a great alternative for the more expensive store-bought chalk paint that we all go through gallons of crafting, so I hope it helps you out. Last test here, guys, is to put a coat of cheap acrylic paint on there. Now this is just paint from the Dollar Tree. I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's the cheapest paint I could think of. It's probably in the same category as the apple barrel paint. It's not a multi-purpose or multi-surface paint. And we're just putting it on top of this paint to see how it adheres. And here it is, you guys, and honestly, it looks beautiful. I'm going to show you some up-close personal photos, PNGs here with all the pixels so that you can see every last brush stroke, but it looks velvety and soft. It's an ultra matte dry, so it looks like that ultra matte paint you get at Home Depot. I hope this helps you guys out there know that you can craft affordably and do affordable chalk paint. It's a wonderful thing to have in your arsenal. Everybody wants coverage with 1 coat. And of course, if you like what you saw here on this video, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you. Until then, breathe deep, fret not, and do things that make you happy.